getting to see a TVT between North American players. Again, just very rare. Even in North America, Zerg pretty much the main race here. But, you know, we're going to be getting into our first game here, MaSa versus ElhayM on Habitation Station. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm definitely very excited to see it all finish up. So what do we know about these players? Well, MaSa, again, the Toronto favorite, he's actually the first seed going into our Tourcraft finals in 2 weeks here on ESPN TV. So we've seen a lot of him over the last few months, and very rarely will he ever drop a game up against some opponents.
Yeah, and you know, I was asking Maru, I believe at the last Tourcraft, how is he looking forward to TVT, and he doesn't really know what he's going to be doing here because, well, there isn't a lot of TVT to go with, to be honest.
As we said, I mean, a lot of the local Toronto competition is primarily Zerg, so we're going to have to see how he does handle this. And speaking of the Root player himself, in the blue in the top left, it is MaSa, our top seed out of Tourcraft, and a very strong contender here for Kings of the North.
Yeah. And over on the top right, we have our purple Terran player representing Clarity Gaming. It is ElhayM.
Now, I do remember this guy plays from Group A. Almost feels like forever ago now, but it was about 2 weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
And very impressive stuff out of him. And he defeated... Who did he defeat in Group A? I'm trying to remember now. We had Desro and Saravati in Group B. We had Hendrilisk in Group B. And Puck, or Huck.
Yeah, ElhayM got through because Huck couldn't make it, I believe.
Oh, right, so that was it. Yeah, that's right. These guys are cross-group play. Quite correct, yes. Well, there goes my memory. There's been so much StarCraft to do over the last few weeks. I mean, we've had our Tourcraft stuff finishing up, and now we have this finishing up, and then we got the finals for the Tourcraft to do. And so, too many games. Esports overload here in Canada. What have we been seeing so far, though, this game?
Well, we have a Proxy Barracks going to be coming out of ElhayM here. It looks like it can be Proxy Reaper, possibly. Or maybe going to try teching up after the Proxy Barracks if it doesn't work out. But probably Reapers. That usually is what happens with this. And MaSa, though, he's going to be doing the regular things. He's got his refinery. He's getting up his barracks right now. So Reaper's probably also going to be coming out from MaSa here, but a lot more standard way of getting Reapers out from MaSa.
I wonder if MaSa's actually going to be forced on the defense, because there's a lot less distance to cover with that proxy there from ElhayM. And, I mean, the timings are all good. He has 3 in that gas. He has Tech Lab coming down, though.
Yeah. With the Tech Lab, it might be proxy concussive shells and get Marauders. Yeah. It could work. It hasn't been done in a while, but, you know, TVTs also haven't been done in a while for a lot of these players. So, you know, just trying to throw out whatever they can. And, yep, it is going to be Marauders after all.
All right. Well, MaSa, he did throw out that scout. He did notice that the base was fairly empty there on the other side of the map. So he knows that something is up. You can see he's going to start trying to make a wall now and just chasing off the SCVs. We don't need a bunker here. No, sir. But he does have his own 3-3 gas coming out. And, yeah, is there really a huge threat if he gets that bunker down?
There still can be, mainly because these are Marauders. They do hit harder than Marines do.
Much
but
harder, yeah.
It's still a little bit more difficult for ElhayM anyways, only because, you know, with the Marauders, it takes longer for Marauders to get out. So in equivalent to the amount of Marines that MaSa will have, ElhayM will have a much smaller force.
Well, speaking of smaller forces, just looking back and forth between the worker counts, it's actually a lot closer than I expected at this point. Now, ElhayM just going to camp out there up front, but we do have the 1-1-1 coming out from MaSa, so I don't really think he's going to feel too threatened out of this.
Yeah, he's going to be getting a Tech Lab on that factory and probably going to be getting up some Banshees here as well. You know, pretty normal, is especially Habitation Station, very small across the top for air, so... We do have 3 Marauders going to be coming up this main ramp right now, and they're just going to walk right past it because they can.
Because they can.
Yeah.
Good enough answer.
Yeah, and we do see that only one goes down so far and just going to be kiting the rest. Concussive Shells isn't done, though, as we see. And right now, that Marauder is going to get cornered by these SAVs. Should target down those SAVs. Let's see, how many does he actually get to kill?
2.
Only about 2, yeah.
2 SCVs, I think 2 Marines died in that process as well. But overall, not really a decisive strike coming out there from ElhayM. So now he's going to have to deal with the response. The good news is he did get in. He did see the 1-1-1 finishing up. He did see the tech factory, the tech lab on the starport, and he should have a good inkling that there's going to be some Banshees coming his way.
Yeah, and missile turrets do go down here for ElhayM. The starport is on the way as well, and the Widow Mines too, so really just going to be trying to play it safe here. And
well, he's on the back foot now.
Yeah. And, you know, as I said, with that refinery earlier on, he can tech out of it if it does fail, and it looks like he's going to be doing just that. We'll be getting a Viking here, so he knows that the Banshees are coming, and this is pretty normal in TVTs that if one player goes for the Banshees, especially on such a small map like this, Banshee going to be coming in here, going to be able to kill off a couple of the SCVs on the gas, but Widowmine will come down, will push it forward. And the thing with the Widowmine is that it can't actually attack the Banshee because the Banshee can just get out of range so quickly. It's mainly just about crowd control, just trying to keep it away from the SCVs as much as possible.
Well, we know that this Banshee's days are numbered, but he takes home 6 worker kills on it as well. Might actually even be able to take a few more. He's going to come back in with the stealth. And no, that's not. Well, okay. He'll live a little while. He got one more out of it.
Yeah, and here comes another Banshee here. Widowmine is down, Viking ready as well. And with the missile turret up, the detection will be there. So, yeah, as we see, the Viking just easily going to be pushing away that Banshee.
Now, 2 Banshees taking home 8 SCVs out of that. And it did force out 2 Vikings now, I believe. Yeah, 2 Vikings there for the defense. ElhayM very much on the 1 base. You see MaSa expanding on the back of this. And now we got a Raven actually going to be coming on the way of MaSa. So, again, very much on the back foot, it felt like, because after the proxy didn't work, there was really no map presence here from ElhayM, so he did have to kind of just eat a few kills there from the Banshees. But now, like, what happens now? I mean, there's really not going to be any more kind of pressure. No more Banshees are going to come because they're basically a waste of cash.
Yeah, right now it looks like ElhayM, he's going to be getting Cloak, actually, and getting his own Banshees. And the thing with this is that... Yeah, because MaSa, he's not really going to be expecting that Banshees come out from him as well. So getting them, and especially since he already does have the Vikings as well, even if Ravens do come out, which they are, the Vikings can easily take care of the Ravens, and the Banshees will have pretty much free reign.
Ooh, well, that's a free Widowmine.
Yeah. But right now we do have +1 infantry weapons coming out, and I do like the addition of tanks from ElhayM. It looks like MaSa going to be doing the same thing. Habitation Station, a much smaller map, so siege tanks very effective, especially since there are a lot of just pathways that if you have one tank in the right position, you can completely shut down one of the paths.
All right, well, we're going to have to look forward to that. Still a little worried there from ElhayM, though. He has not started mining the second base. He does have a second orbital in development, so he does have this command center ready to go, but at this point he's still not mining. And those numbers in the top right corner, like, both sides have mules at this point, so you can't even really put those to, you know, as an advantage over each other. Oh, look at this. That's going to be a nice early warning right there.
Yeah, and that Banshee, it's going to be coming in. Viking already here, though, and MaSa, he's
going to force him to scan.
Well, no, there's a Raven there, so that Banshee is just going to go down.
Got about, I think, 3 SCVs out of that. Not quite as successful as the MaSa excursion. 10-6 for the worker counts on either sides that are dead.
Yeah.
But still, right now, it is MaSa kind of doing more traditional MaSa stuff. He's starting to get that production up. He has the second base ready to go. Upgrades are now coming his way as well. And again, he feels very solid at this point. Whereas ElhayM is a little bit all over the place. He's now tried poking with proxy Marauders. He's tried the Banshees. He's wasted a decent amount on both sides. It looks like he's going to get some celebratory Marine kills, but,
yeah,
you know, even those days are numbered.
Yeah, here comes the Raven, here comes the Banshee, and a handful of Vikings. So that Banshee, it's going to be going down, but MaSa, he's going to be looking to push, as he does have a tank. He has quite a few Marines right now.
The army difference between the two as well.
Yeah, it is 39-33 right now. The Widowmine will be able to help a lot against the Marines, but with the higher count of tanks for MaSa here, it's definitely going to be a lot harder for ElhayM, especially with that Banshee and the Raven and the Vikings. It's going to be a little bit difficult.
Got a little bit too close to that Widowmine right there. Yeah. But believe it or not, none of the Vikings actually gone down until, of course, I just said that right there. Point defense drone also in deployment just above that ramp. And, you know, tanks are going to be setting up. MaSa's looking for a siege.
Yeah. 4 tanks here. There are a couple for ElhayM right now, but you know that Banshee. Oh, scan will go down. The Banshee is gonna go down here, but one tank gonna be getting thrown out of the waters there for ElhayM, and now SCV is going to have to get pulled, but
Wow.
MaSa, he's just going to reinforce with this, and these tanks, they're just going to walk up, they're going to kill off that tank, Vikings going to land, and GG.
Right there, yeah. Walking right up that ramp to victory. MaSa's going to take game number 1 here on Habitation Station. I was going to say, you know, SCVs, maybe if they prepare, they might be able to hold this, and then the tanks just said nope. And that was that. So,
Yeah.
again, kind of felt very strange, kind of in the waters, very shaky beginnings there from ElhayM. You know, the proxy Marauders didn't work.
Yeah.
Then he had to suffer 8 SCVs from
Yeah.
Banshees that he was forced to build some Vikings for. And then after that, he built his own Vikings, which did not really quite hit the mark, did they?
Yeah, and I feel like if he only made 2 Marauders instead of 3, that might have been able to help out there and getting things done quicker. And then, as you said, that Banshee just not able to do as much as he needed it to do. And then he was just playing on the back foot for the rest of that game. And it showed as when the final fight came, he had a much smaller army. He wasn't very well positioned either.
45 to 27, I believe, were the counts going into the fight.
Yeah.
And then the Widowmine got off 1 shot, which is good, because it has a cooldown. I'd be surprised if it actually got off more, but it didn't really, like, if it had gotten the Raven, I think that would have been a little different. But then the point defense drone came out, and everything from there. As MaSa also advanced, he had that cloaked Banshee that took a lot of the shots from the Marines after the scan. And because the Banshee was taking the shots, that meant that their Marines just kind of got decimated by the tank line.
Yeah, and you know that Raven really played a big part of that as well because of the point defense drone. It just blocked so many shots of the Vikings. The Banshee was allowed to stay alive, and the Vikings as well of MaSa stayed alive very long. And then also just a lot of the fire, because all of those units that ElhayM had were all projectile firing units. So that point defense drone really shut down quite a bit for ElhayM.
It was almost like a zone of silence, and all you want to do is scream magic missile. I mean,
yeah.
As a comparison there to Dungeons & Dragons for anyone out there. Game number 2 is going to be on merry-go-round, as we have alluded to, and the 3-player map, the little bit of the oddity in our ladder pool this season.
Yeah. 3-player maps, never been done before in StarCraft 2, though merry-go-round, I kind of like it.
StarCraft 2, you were telling me about one of the 3-player map back in the Brood War days.
Yes, Medusa. It was a very
heck of a name for it.
Yeah. It was, I feel like it was called that because it had a mineral-only natural behind the main base on high ground.
Right.
And it had a long tail that came all the way around the main, and then at the end there was a ramp covered with Zelnaga temples that had 2 mineral patches underneath it as well that you could glitch up if you were pro.